Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking time this evening to join. My name is Alex, and I'm the president of WMC Malaysia. WMC Malaysia is World Malayali Council. It's an organization that has been there for 25 years, and Malaysia has been functioning for the last 1 year plus. So, great evening, and thank you everyone for joining this evening. I'm going to be handing over the stage to Joe, who's our vice chairman of WMC, and he will now introduce the speaker and also formally welcome you all. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen from all over the world. It's very encouraging to see some 80 over people already signed and listening in. It's wonderful. And, thank you so much, everyone, for taking that time. This evening, it's a Sunday, and really, really appreciate that you have taken time. And I can tell you one thing, you're not going to be disappointed. Today, we are having a presentation on the art of effective presentation. Now, I, for one, never knew how to do presentation. I, for one, never thought that I will be able to stand in front of a group of people and actually talk. But you know what? You will never know if you don't try. And without talking too much about me, let me introduce the speaker for tonight, Miss Sharon Kaur, somebody whom I've known for almost 20 to 30 years now, a very good friend of mine. She, as most of you might know, she's a very famous L&D person, learning and development. She's been in the training field for a long time. She is an adjunct professor at Arkansas State University, USA. She's a principal trainer with innovation and creative skills trainings in Berhad, Malaysia. Sharon has been involved in training and development, as I mentioned earlier, for 20 over years, and her main focus is on developing essential skills such as communication and interpersonal skills for workplace and social needs. Now, I think sometimes when we were discussing this topic, we were saying, who is this going to benefit? Actually, it's going to benefit every one of us. If we think that we are the best at it, I don't think so. I think Sharon might have some really interesting tricks up her sleeves to share with us today. And let me not take too much time. Let me pass it on to Sharon. Over to you, Sharon Kaur.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, World Malayali Council, the Malaysian province, for giving me this opportunity to share something about presentations with you. Well, okay. Are we ready to start? Yes, we are, right? So, and I'm very, very happy to see so many people from so many different parts of the world here this evening with us. So, it is all over the place. It's all over the world, sorry. But presentations are presentations. Public speaking is still public speaking wherever we are, any part of the world. Okay, so some of these general stuff or the general principles of public speaking, it pervades all over the world. So today I'm going to go through it, and what we will do is I'll run through some of these things with you. I hope that we'll be able to pick up some tricks. Like Joe says, it's not tricks, but it's more of like strategies. Sounds more professional, yeah? So strategies on how we can become better speakers, better presenters, okay? And I think one of the biggest challenges we are all facing today is that we are now online. So the challenges of online presentation are even bigger than face-to-face, okay? Give me half a chance, I'd rather be with my live audience. Honestly, I think the energy and the passion is there. But having said that, the energy and passion can also be gotten through online. So let's go with this now. I will talk first, and then we will have the question and answer session later. Is that okay with all? I hope that's okay with all of you. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put them on the chat, and then we'll try to answer them. So here goes. And well, as a speaker, one of the things we do is we always have got some virtual assistants or some assistants. And here is the PowerPoint assistant. Now the PowerPoint assistant, let me just share something with you. One of the main things about presentations is this. You are the presentation, not your PowerPoint. Don't kill your presentation. Don't kill your message by putting the PowerPoint in front. The PowerPoint is supposed to be an assistant. So I am going to be using the assistant, all right? And I'm not going to allow it to take precedence. I'm going to use it as like I said, as an assistant. So here goes. Let me share screen with you. I hope you'll be able to see. And let's go with public speaking and presentation skills. Now, can I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, what is your biggest fear? Do you have a fear? Are you afraid of anything? What is very fearsome to you? What scares you? Cockroaches? Darkness? Closed spaces? Well, now we can say COVID-19 is also, kind of like scary out there. But do you know that there was a research done that some people said, not some people, 74% people actually said they will take death over public speaking. I rather die than speak in public. I rather die than make a presentation. Don't ask me to present. I will die. Have you been there? Does this happen to you? Maybe not. Maybe yes. Maybe not 70, not that much of a percentage, but yes, it does happen to some people that they rather die honestly than do a presentation. Now, 2.5% people apparently have a fear of confined spaces, claustrophobia. Okay, 10% say they have a fear of heights, acrophobia. Then we have another group of 35% people. Now, this was basically a research done on North Americans. I'm sorry, this is the only research I could find to give you some figures, but I think it's across borders. Over my years of training, public speaking, communication skills, whether I meet with people from all walks of life, one of the things they always tell me, Sharon, I am so afraid to go out there and speak in public. I'm so afraid to face people. Yeah, we're going to talk about all these things. It is not, I'm not saying that it's easy. It's never easy, but everything can be done if we practice, okay? So what else do we have? Fear of death, 68%. Who's afraid of dying? Some of us are say, well, no. But 74% have fear of public speaking. So where are you? Are you in the glossophobia area? If you are, I hope that this session today will help you to overcome some of these issues, okay? So the art of effective presentations. Now, presentations, there's a whole gamut of things that we need to talk about. But today, I am not going to cover the whole thing because we don't have the time for that. So I'm going to take 4 main areas for you with you today. One is, how do we start and how do we end? How do we start? We go like, ladies and gentlemen, you go, and then my talk today is about I am going to talk to you about, and then when it's ending, oh, okay, it's time. Thank you very much. I've got to go. Okay, it happens to the best of us. All right. And then we have to look at the audience. The audience, who are they? Like today's presentation, this webinar, because it's an international platform, people from different parts of the world. All right. People who come from different types of work, from different types of backgrounds. So it's more of a general thing. Okay. That is why this talk will be a little bit more general. All right, but still specific enough. Then we talked about the you, the me, and the you. Do you know that we are the most powerful thing when we are speaking? Many of us don't use some of the talent that we already have with us. You have some people who come there and say, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to talk to you about presentation. I hope you'll enjoy the session. First point is that I'm still talking to you, but can you do something about your expression? Can you do something about your voice? Can you deliver more effectively with more passion? We'll talk about that. And then the Q&A. I've met many people through my years who say, Sharon, why, the Q&A is a very scary bit. You know why? They feel they lose control of the presentation or the speech that they are making. Because people may ask them something that they, it's totally, they cannot answer. Then they don't want to look like fools. Hey, my friends, the Q&A, in fact, is one of the most fun part. And I'll tell you why later. And I always tell my participants this: you own your presentation. Don't let anybody sabotage your presentation. Don't let anybody take over your presentation. And how do you keep control on that? It's up to you. It's how we manage ourselves when we are out there, and it's like lights, camera, and action. We are on stage. All right. So these are the four areas that I'm going to cover, and I hope that it will be helpful for you. The best part is this: we were not born presenters, we were not born great public speakers, we were born crying, maybe before we got a tap on our bum and they say cry, then we cry. Okay, we were not born. Speaking in public is not something that you cannot learn. It can be acquired. If somebody said, oh, I cannot speak because I was born like that, no, my dear, you are not. You can build the skills. It's all up to you. It's up to you to build your confidence and to build your own expertise. Is it difficult? I don't think so. No, sorry, I'm not going to say that. I think that's wrong. Is it difficult? Yes, it can be difficult. For some people, it can be difficult. For some people, less difficult. For some people, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. No, it's fine. But whatever said and done, it needs to be worked on. And over my years, I mean, when I started public speaking, I think I can remember my first days of speaking in public was when I was in school, in primary school. They used to have this elocution contest, this debate contest. So, I used to participate. Boy, I used to be very nervous. In fact, I still am nervous even until today. But, you get to learn how to manage it. So I remember those days, and it was like very like, when I was learning that, it was like nobody really told us how to do it. We picked it up here and there. We watched people, we memorized the stuff, and then we sort of just gave it out there. And then, we were just speaking for ourselves. But today, when you do a presentation, when you give a speech, when you are doing a seminar or whatever you are doing, a webinar or a meeting, you're not doing it for yourself. It's the audience. You're doing it for them. It's not for you, okay? So that is why one of the first things that we will explore always will be the audience, okay? Now, very quickly, let me just run through with you. What is the difference between public speaking and presentations? What's the difference? Some will say, oh, there's a difference. Some will say, no, there's a difference. There's no difference. There is a slight. The common elements and the main elements of any public speaking is the speaker, the subject, of course, and the audience. Now, you cannot run away from that. You can't. If there is no audience, who are you going to talk to? Yourself? Fine, that's good for trying to understand yourself, but that's not making a speech, that's not making a presentation. And if you're having a conversation with a friend, that's a conversation, that's not a presentation. So with presentation or a public speaking or a speech that you're going to make, you need to have an audience. And of course, for heaven's sakes, we need to have a topic. We can't go there and say, well, today I've been asked to speak, but I don't know what I'm going to speak about. We can't do that. All right. And then the speaker, that you need somebody to speak, right? Okay, what are the differences? Some of the differences are in public speaking, like, when you're giving a speech, the crowd will be bigger. It'll be more diverse. The audience could be more diverse. The setting is larger. There's little interaction because it's a bigger group. It's just like this one, like right now, we are having a online interaction. So the interaction is still very much limited. So public speaking, or when you're speaking to big groups of people, all right, that's a little bit of difference. And when you're giving a public speech, you may have a topic, all right, of interest, of general interest. Maybe we're going to talk about, like, say, the effects of COVID-19 or the effects of the pandemic on mental health, for something like that. That is an open topic. But a presentation, on the other hand, we normally do it with very few people. Normally, you can even be doing it in your office. You could be doing it, you could be doing it with 20 or 30 people. All right, a presentation is a little bit more closer, and there's more sharing. Okay. Now, normally when you say, okay, you give a presentation to your board, you give a presentation at your departmental meetings, you give a presentation to your colleagues in the office, you can do that. You don't do a public speaking there, right? But say, for example, if say the World Malayali Council, Alex, is invited on an international platform to talk about the World Malayali Council. He is going to be giving a speech, right? So because the audience is going to be different. So in that, the thing about speech and presentation is that sometimes the startings and endings may differ a little bit. But whatever said and done, you need to prepare for it, okay? So basically what you're doing, tell them what you want to tell them, the way you want them to receive the message. Communication or the message only is successfully across if I, the sender, send the message to you, the receiver, and you receive it the way I want you to receive it. Okay. Some may say, now, what did she say? Simple. Now, if I were to tell all of you now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like all of you now to close your eyes. All right? Now, some of you may, some of you may not. Some of you say, okay, what's she up to now? All right. But if I want to make sure, I want you to close your eyes. If you do close your eyes, communication took place. You know why? I wanted you to close your eyes. You closed your eyes. It means you understood what I want from you. So same thing in presentation and public speaking. You have a reason for that. If you want them to do something, you must make sure they receive it the way you want them to receive it. Okay? So let's start understanding our audience. I hope we are okay and you are all right with the voice and the sound and the video quality.
All good, Sharon, so far, all good, going well. I
Thank
almost
you.
slept off because you asked us to close our eyes.
Okay, no, please open your eyes, especially you, Joe. All right. Okay, that was just an example. All right. And bad example. I shouldn't have used it. Right. Okay. Let's go on to the most important, the first most critical aspect of public speaking: audience. Do you know who you're talking to? There's a song, right? Do you know where you're going to? That's not where we're going. Here is, do you know who you're talking to? All right. Do you know your audience? You have to ask yourself, who are you talking to? Who are you speaking to? Who are you presenting to? Because let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, this same topic, if I were to say, if I'm going to talk about, say, the COVID, the effect of the pandemic on mental health. If I'm going to talk to a group of school children, the topic contents may be the same, but the delivery is going to be different. The examples are going to be different. If I'm going to talk to, say, housewives, it's going to be different. Because what mistake that we all sometimes tend to make is that we think that because we spoke to this particular audience about this way it worked, it should work for the next one. It doesn't. You need to be always very, very, very particular or very, very focused on who your audience is. And why are you talking to them? Why are you talking to them? My question be, why are they even there? Why is the audience there? Now, these sometimes are questions which can be very harsh. But you see, if we don't have that in front of us, then we sometimes go off topic. We talk things beyond what is necessary, or we may even be saying things culturally wrong. You know, we have this issue, right? So we must know who we are speaking to, why we are speaking to them, and what I want to say to them. Am I telling them something? Am I persuading them to do something? Or am I just informing them? Say, for example, it's a presentation. If I have a town hall meeting in a company and I'm the head of department, I am giving information. I'm giving information just to inform my staff? Or am I giving information to my staff to persuade them to change their working culture? Or am I explaining the new company HR policies to them? You must know why. We must know why. Today's session is more of like sharing with you ideas. So it's explanation, it's information. I won't say it's instruction because it doesn't tell you must do da, 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 da. It is not a da, 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 da. These are ideas and you have to then see which works for you. So you must know who you're speaking to, why, and what you want to say. And what do you want them to feel at the end of it? What do I want you all to feel at the end of my fervent wish is that at the end of this presentation, you will be able to pick up some points to help you in your next presentation or public speaking assignment. That is my what do you call it? Uh, Focus, or that's my aim for this presentation, right? So you have to ask yourself, what do you want them to feel or do at the end of the presentation? Ask yourself as a speaker, what is it in for them, the audience? The audience is your first point of starting your planning of your preparing your content. Okay, now the message that you wish to convey to the audience, all right, will enable you to decide on the best opening. You know your audience. Okay, my audience is a group of kindergarten kids. No, we don't go solo. Okay, my audience is a group of high school children, high school students. All right. Okay, I'm going to talk to them about what do I talk to them about? Okay, say interviewing skills. All right, I'm going to talk to them about how to attend interviews. All right. Now, then how do I start my presentation? I say high school kids interviewing. Now, how do I start? So I have to look at my audience and pick things that they can relate with. Correct? You will pick things. Maybe I could talk about something that is happening in the world of music, which I think could be something they can relate with. We have to find that, ladies and gentlemen. And that is why when we are doing a presentation, it doesn't mean that you get a presentation topic today and say, okay, I'll talk about it. And you go up there and say, ladies and gentlemen, okay, today I'm going to talk to you. You know, that is in my book. I'm sorry if I sound harsh. In my book, that sounds just disrespectful to the audience. It's just disrespectful because the audience took time from their busy schedules to be there. And if you go there and tell them, well, actually, I was just given this da, the audience will switch off. Okay, so that's something you must always keep behind your mind. So how do you plan for your audience? You analyze your audience. You understand who they are. You understand their demographics, their age, their background, the culture, whatever it is, their interest, what interests them, the environment that you will be talking in. Where are you going to be speaking to them? Where will they be? What are their needs? Okay, and you customize it accordingly and try to what you call it, fulfill their expectations. You also have expectations as a speaker. They have expectations as a audience. So understand the audience. So that is the first thing we need to do. You got the audience now, right? We understand them. And ladies and gentlemen, this actually takes up a lot of time. It's not something that you just sit down there and say, okay, I got it. No. It's a lot of work. It's work. And we have to do it. We have to do that homework, okay? Let's go on now to the audience still, okay? Be very careful about these three things. Do these look familiar to you? Stereotyping, biases, prejudices. Ask yourself honestly, ladies and gentlemen, do these things come into play when you are making a presentation or when you are asked to give a speech or do a public speaking assignment? We all have our own baggage that we carry with us. Do we stereotype audiences? Do we say, high school kids, they don't know anything. They are, the young ones nowadays are da-da-da-da-dee. Oh, housewives, well, what are they? What do they know? Okay, what about people who are working? We tend to stereotype not only in terms of work, we stereotype according to income, we stereotype according to race, religion, culture. We have the biases, we have the prejudices, and you've got to be very careful that it does not come out when we are speaking. It does not come out when we are presenting. I have sat in presentations in the office, when I was working, all right? I have sat in presentations where we hear comments like, oh, that person, well, he's like that. He will never understand. He hasn't got a degree. So what will he know about all these principles? You have already decided. You have already have a bias against him. You have not given him a chance. So be very careful about this. You're stereotyping your biases and prejudices when who are you talking to? You know why? You know why this is also important? I'll tell you why. Another thing that happens to us speakers is with certain groups, you know what happens to us? We become arrogant. We become very arrogant. We think we know better. We think we are better than them. So we patronize them. The language we use, the words we use, the body language that we have, it's very patronizing, and it's very off-putting. Okay, and then the worst is when somebody asks a question and you look at the person and say, "Oh, this person doesn't deserve my answer." You don't say it with your words; you say it with your body language. So be very careful about that. So understand your audience. Be very careful about your own biases, your own prejudices. Okay. Now, how do you start? How do you start? Do you think about this? Do you really sit down and think about, okay, I have a presentation to do today. How do I start? Do you really sit down? If you do, wonderful. But if you don't, we need to do this. And you know what is the most off-putting thing? These are some of the off-putting things that come up. Like somebody comes up and say, unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, hello, I don't need to hear that. If it's your problem, it's your problem. Now, I am not saying that we are not allowed to be nervous. We are allowed to be nervous, but we are not allowed to say things like a very sarcastic, I don't know why I've been asked to speak. And especially the tone goes like, I don't know why I've been asked to speak. Oh, really? Then why are you here? All right. I haven't really prepared anything. Can it get better than that? I haven't really prepared anything. Speaking off the top of my head, hello, are you speaking from the bottom of your feet? You're definitely going to be speaking right. You're not speaking from the bottom of your feet. Today, I'm going to talk about, hello, we know what you're going to talk about because we already have the topic in hand. So we know that you're going to talk about that. Hello, how is everybody today? Because you heard somebody say, hello, how is everybody today? No response. And then you go like, hello, I can't hear you. Hello, hello. Anybody there? Can you hear me? Do we need this? And thank you for that kind introduction. Some of them say this can even come out as sarcastic. For me, it's not the words, it's the how the words are said. Thank you for that kind introduction. Is this thing on? Is this thing on? You go, is this thing on? Are you guilty of that? You take the mic and go, is this thing on? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello, hello. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're with me here now, if you want to do your testing, please do it before the session starts. That's why you're supposed to be there earlier, not in front of people and go like, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. No. Okay. Now, before I begin, hello, ladies and gentlemen, if you're using that line, please don't use it because you begin the moment you begin. You already began. So now these are some things that we sometimes say. I will never forget one incident. This thing has etched into my mind so badly. And it made me very angry. Okay, and I'll share this with you. It's a social function. It's not even a formal function. The MC comes up on stage and says, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. And so everybody's ready. There are about 100 odd people sitting down there. And he goes like, actually, and he's looking at his phone, all right? Actually, I was just told about half an hour ago that I will be emceeing this function. So, I've not really prepared anything. So I hope that, anyway, what's happening now? What do you think? What's happening now? Who's coming on? I don't even have the program. For me, that is a no, 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 no. If you are not prepared, you're not prepared. But if you are a good MC, if you're a person who knows how to manage the situation, you don't have to tell us that, oh, I'm not prepared. Are you trying to show that you're so good that, hey, even though I'm not prepared, I can carry the show? No, it's arrogance. We should stay away from that. I'm very wary about people who do that. So whether it's a presentation to kindergarten kids, whether it's a presentation to school kids, whether it's a presentation to grandmothers, please make sure we respect them. Open with respect. Don't give this kind of lines. And the worst is, now the worst will be saying these words with this body language like, actually, I am like, we don't realize our hands and our face and our mouth and our eyes are saying things. They say a lot of things. So be careful about that. So how can you start? You can start with a story. You can start with humor. You can start with a question. You can start with a provocative statement. You can use a bold number. You can use a quote. There are many different ways of starting. Again, work your starting with your audience, and work your phrases with your non-verbal cues as well. The story is a technique, but it is carried through words and through gestures and body movement, the passion. All right. You don't go like, you have to make them connect with you. Stories are excellent, what do you call opening. In fact, if you go and read a lot of books about public speaking, you'll find that a lot of people use stories to start. Okay. But okay, remember this: caution, 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 red flag, red flag, red flag. If one opening works with one audience, doesn't mean it works with the next audience. So be a little bit careful about that. All right. So if one joke worked with this group, it may backfire the next group. Okay. So let's look at stories. Show, don't, just tell. Now, I'm going to tell you basically is that when you're telling a story, they say, oh, I don't have a problem telling stories. You know what's the problem with people telling stories? Sometimes the story starts and goes nowhere. The story has got no connection. The story is told like, once, I was trying to leave the office on time, but then my boss came in and then he told me like, Sharon, tomorrow you have to give a presentation to the board. I'm giving you a story, right? But it's just coming across a But if I go like, I was so excited, it was like, hey, it's the end of the day and I've got a dinner date tonight and I'm going out and then I'm packing my bag, looking forward. And then guess what? My boss walks in and he says, hi, Sharon. I say, hi, going back. And I go like, yes, I'm going back now. What do you call it? He says, anything? He says, yeah, actually, no, nothing. You can carry on. I just want to let you know that tomorrow, the board of directors would like you to make a presentation on our HR policies for 10 minutes. Yeah, okay. So you get it done tomorrow, 11 o'clock at the boardroom. And he walks out. And I go like, jaw drop. What? Me? Presentation? Kill me. I'm going to die. I have to put some connection. I have to put some passion. I need to make that personal experience come out. And stories must have a personal experience, not so that the person who tells the story, like say if I'm telling you the story, I don't want you to repeat my story. I want you to share, to be able to connect to your own experience of the same thing. If there was, then it makes sense. There's a connection, all right? And there's a connection, there is a personal experience, there's passion. You need to have passion when you speak. And you use yourself wholly. It's just not words. It's your action, it's your body, it's your gestures, it's your face. You have, like in kindergarten, they say show and tell. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a phone. My phone is black in color and I bought the name of my phone and it's a show and tell. So in this case, same thing. Passion. You need to have verbal, non-verbal kind cues coming in to make that story stick. And the story must be structured. Not a story that is like, running all over the place. There was one participant of mine who told me he's a very good speaker, mind you. He's a very good speaker. But when we were doing this program with him, and he started with a story, he was given about 12 or 13 minutes to speak, make a presentation. His story took up 6 minutes and it still hadn't ended because it was going over and over again. Why was the case? I'll tell you why. He had a very good story. But he had no structure. He had no, control of his story. Story was going all over the place and, people got fed up. So if you're going to use a story, use it. Now, I can only share this very basic stuff with you because there's so much more about storytelling, but stories really connect. Stories really connect. If you are going to do a public speech, use stories. If you're doing a presentation to the board, you may not want to do a story. But the same information, say if you're talking about financial figures, and if you're going to talk to, say, the employees, you could come up with a story to start with it. So you see, same contents, different start, different audience. Okay. Now, how many of you can say a joke? Are you a good joker? Are you a good stand-up comedian? No. I can't tell a joke to save my life because, so I never use jokes. You know why? I don't want to fall flat on my face. And what's the difference between humor and a joke? A humor is something that is ingrained within the message, and it's something that makes you smile. Maybe you what do you call it? You smirk. Okay, you don't go ha 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 ha. A joke makes you do that. All right, and the worst is if you say a joke and then you tell everybody, oh, that was a joke. Dangerous. I find that this is very dangerous. So humor versus jokes. All right. Okay. So ask yourself whether humor will help you and what is the purpose of using your humor. All right. Use questions. All right. Use questions. You can have all kinds of questions. You have direct questions. You have rhetorical questions. What if? If you can have the rhetorical questions are thought provoking. All right. You can ask what if questions. You have loaded questions. Now this one will ask people to think about it. You can have what if questions. What if da 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 da. Use questions. Use imagine. Think about this. Picture this. You can use that as a start. Use a provocative statement. You will live 7.5 minutes longer than you would have otherwise just because you watch this talk. Then again, it's not just about the words, it's also about the way you say it. Okay, so you can use all these things. Use bold numbers. You can shock them. You create empathy with them. You can call to arms. With 58% of the marketing budgets are wasted due to poor landing page design. Let's change this, and then we start. So it depends on what you want to say. You can spark curiosity. You can use famous quotes. To be or not to be is one. Here is another famous quote. And I like it when I do my pronunciation programs. I love to start with tongue twisters. Right? Betty bought some butter, but the butter was bitter. So Betty bought some better butter to make the bitter butter better. I can do that. So I can use any start that I want to, all right? Now, you know how to, you know your audience, you know the way you can start. Now you can see that I'm not able to go too deep into the points because there's just so much in there. Now let's talk about delivering the presentation. Let's look at us. We have the fear. The great truth of the matter is, my dear friends, we are all nervous and everyone suffers from it. It's okay to be nervous. Why are we having this fear to speak in public? You know why? Because we don't want people to think bad about us. We don't want people to judge us. We don't want people to look at us negatively. We don't want people to say, oh my God, she's no good. We are afraid because we have a sense of pride. We have a sense of esteem. We have our own egos, all right? So we are afraid to be judged. So we said, no, I'm not going out there. We are afraid to look foolish. Everybody's looking at me. Oh my God, there are 100 eyes looking at me, 100 pairs of eyes. And, you know, everybody's watching what you're doing. So there are many reasons that we can be fearful. There are many ways for you to find out what really makes you afraid to speak. Each one of us have a different reason. I would suggest that you go find out what it is that really is your fear factor. All right. So you, the speaker, what you're saying is only 7%. Okay. And what they are hearing is only 38%. But what they are seeing is 58%, 55%. So what they see and they hear actually is more powerful. The words are words, but the way, the hearing, that means it's the way it's being delivered. That's what is it more powerful. So this is a particular quote I really want to share with you. All right, I think it's really good because it says here, the speaker who stands and talks at ease is the one who can be heard without weariness. That means without tiring people. If his posture and his gestures are so graceful and unobtrusive, no one notices them, he may be counted as truly successful. And ladies and gentlemen, to do this, we need practice. We need a lot of work. We need to practice. It doesn't come, voila, it doesn't. All right? Your image. When you go online or when you go on stage, really the perception of the people starts the moment they say, ladies and gentlemen, we'd now like to introduce Sharon, who's going to speak to you about da 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 da. Sharon stands up. The moment I stand up till I go to the stage, the way I walk, the way I move, people are making judgment about me. What is my image telling them? Hey, I'm a professional, or oh my God, I don't want to be here. Why am I here? Why am I here? Why did they call me? Oh my God. That's up to you. You decide what is your image going to be, because our image will give us the confidence, will give us the self-esteem. And of course, if we are confident, we are positive, people are also going to be positive about it. If we go in like that, they're also going to go like, oh man, do we have to listen to this? Right? So the reactions and actions come in as well. All right. So your image, how do you begin? Like I said, first look. First, they say what? Fall in love with the first what? Love at first sight? Maybe it is. I don't know whether you get second chances, but love at first sight, maybe it does, because it works. Online presentation, very quickly, just quickly go to online. Your first presentation, when you come online, people are watching you. And then whatever you're doing, your face is very, 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 very obvious, So they're watching you, what you're doing. So your first impressions are very important. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've seen people come online and they go like, what? We don't realize all this. Okay, but keep doing it more often. We will pick up all these things, or we watch ourselves, then we will learn. Okay, how do we ease our nervousness? Just remember, 90% of the time they don't know we are nervous. Do you know I'm nervous or not? I could be, you don't know. Maybe I'm a good actress. If you are standing on stage, if you think your legs cannot, knees are knocking, stand behind a rostrum. And if you think that your hands are shaking, for heaven's sakes, don't hold the paper in front of you like that. Put it away. Okay? You don't have to make them know that you are nervous. And most people, the nervousness is only the first few seconds when you start. After that, you're fine. Okay? So it's okay to be nervous. Take a deep few, whatever makes you feel good. Take a few deep breaths. Be excited about your topic. Think positively. Listen to music. Read a poem. Do yoga if you want. Drink some warm water. Or don't drink alcohol though. Okay? We ain't going to go that line. Now this is, don't even drink coffee or tea. But if you think that works, I think coffee and tea is not bad. But a shot of whiskey or tequila will definitely cause some problems later. All right? Anticipate hard and easy questions. Now, this is one thing you can do. Prepare yourself for what you think is going to be asked. All right? Think about all the questions that can come to you. And get in shape. Now, I think get in shape is really, let me tell you something. When you're giving a presentation, there's a lot of energy. Now, some of us are very, very dynamically, involved. We are like, oh yeah, we move, we do this, we do that. Some of us, we don't move so much. But the energy that comes from speaking, the energy that comes from saying the words, and the body language that we're using, it saps your energy. You need to be strong. You need to have the energy to go on, okay? So, and visualize success. I always like doing this. Visualize, oh, people clapping. Yes, Sharon, you did a good job. Now, I need to build this up for myself so that I will feel good when I go up there. Word choice. The only thing I'm going to say is this. When you speak to people, please speak in the language they understand. Choose appropriate words. And the courtesy is don't talk down on people. Like I said, don't patronize them. You need transitions. That means it's like from one topic to the next topic. You need to have that, right? You can have bridge words. Now, sometimes you'll find the audience is getting a little bit, testy. So you may do some movement. You may tell a story. You may just stop and stare at them. Silence. So you need to have transition words as well. Let's look at ourselves, the speaker. The things about the speaker that I want to really cover here quickly is, one, our appearance. Again, this is up to image. Huh? Look at the clothes that we wear. The style, the colors, the fit. The fit is very important, all right? The accessories, the hair, the makeup, your posture. How do you sit? How do you stand? Very important, all right? How do you sit and how do you stand? Now, this is also very, very critical. Please pay attention when you are speaking. Only pay attention when we are listening. We also have to pay attention when we are speaking. Don't raise our voice. Don't shout at people, all right? And punctuality is very important. Some of the facial expressions which are very obvious. Happy face, sad face, surprise face, fear, disgust, angry, very easy to read, especially even online. Watch your face. You know what I'll do? What you should do? Record yourself. See what kind of facial expressions you do. All right? Then your movement. Where do we stand? How do we stand? Shall I move? Shall I walk? Shall I not walk? How much do I walk? Is staying in one spot better? Staying in one spot is better when you're being asked questions. All right? Staying in one spot is better then. But you could move, but don't pace. You pace, people will become very agitated. Gestures, what do we do with our hands? Palm up, palm down, stand like this, like, hey, I'm the boss. All right, folded arms. What do we do? Ladies and gentlemen, this topic is a huge topic by itself. But I'm just introducing it to you so that the next time, maybe, when you are doing a presentation, you might have this behind your mind. All right. So the thing about gestures is that it must be natural. Don't do robotic. Okay. It's not robotic. Okay. It has to be natural. There is a flow. All right. And you have to practice this. And, don't keep doing this in front of everybody. It's very distracting. Okay. How do you make your body speak, my friends? Watch your body. Record yourself when you're speaking. Look at all the distracting mannerisms that you have. All right. Speak your body language naturally. Mirror it. All right. And use everyday situations. Don't be somebody else. If you like the way another speaker speaks, don't be like him because you can't. You can't. You have to be you. You have to be true to yourself because you can only imitate for a few minutes and after that, boom, you're back to square one. So make your body speak. Use your body, your voice. This is one of my favorite topics actually, voice. I believe very strongly that many of us speakers do not make full use of the voice. The voice is a very powerful tool. You can play with it. The variety in your vocal, the volume, the pitch, the rate. You can play with it instead of going, the heartbeat, die. Okay. All right. Or pronunciation. You need to look at pronunciation as well. All right. So speaker's voice is very important. So I want to just take you through this one. If you're going to run through practicing your voice, the words in bold, they are the words that you emphasize, word stress and sentence stress. So lend me your ears, bear his ears, and not to praise him. The evil that men do lives after them. So voice projection, your meaningful phrases, your pitch and your consonants. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the next bit is how do we end? We end in a nutshell. Let me put this in a nutshell. We end with a bang. We end to make sure they know it's over. We end with maybe the story we started. We end with by using the rule of three. We repeat the same words. We can end with us answering the question that we asked. But the ending must be on point. They must know it's ended. Okay? So when it's ended, the words that you use that. So there are different techniques of even ending. The Q&A session, many people are very afraid of it. Many people are afraid of the Q&A session. Love it, live it, enjoy it, embrace it. Okay? So take the questions, pause, think, and remember, like I told you, if they ask you a question which is out of the topic, you can bring them back. If they ask you a question which has got nothing to do with what you're speaking about that day, you can tell them that. The most important thing is you've got to keep calm, you've got to be poised, and you've got to be on top of your subject matter. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up. All right, I'm going to wrap this session up. I'm afraid that I couldn't go too much into detail. So I will now, like they said, that's a wrap now. It's ending with the 4 things that we want to talk about: start, end, audience, delivery, the Q&A. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you managed to pick up some points, and I'll be happy to take some questions now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sharon. That was fantastic presentation by itself. I think there was a lot of people making comments while you were talking. I'm sure there's going to be a host of questions coming your way. Get ready to unleash your answers. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for you to start asking some questions. Please feel free to unmute yourself and start asking those questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sharon. My name is Krishna, and I just wanted to tell that this is a very wonderful session. Thank you so much. I learned a lot from this. Just one quick question. Like, you spoke about delivering impactful presentations. Now, when it comes to table topics or impromptu speeches, like we cannot prepare and go to the stage. So can you throw some light on it? Like give some tips on some impromptu speeches, how to deliver those? Thank you.
Okay, when it comes to, sorry, thank you so much for that question. So, yeah, when you're talking about impromptu questions, I mean, impromptu speeches that you have to make, sometimes this happens in Toastmasters, especially, or speaking clubs, all right? They throw a topic to you and I say like, hey, speak about it. Now, if you were to go there, you don't have to tell them, I don't know anything about this. Now, what I would suggest is I would take the topic, all right? I will look at it and I say, okay, this is talking to me, asking me to talk about something about nuclear science. Man, I don't know anything about nuclear science. So what am I going to do? You know what I will do? I will talk to them about what I don't know about nuclear science. All right. Now I will not tell them, oh, I'm sorry if my presentation is going to be what do you call it? Not very good because I'm not familiar with the topic. You know what? Don't be apologetic. Don't apologize. Just tell them that very interesting topic, something that's very new to me. Now, nuclear science, I've heard about things like this. And like I said, talk about something which is, you telling them that you don't really know what nuclear science is, but you are still speaking. If I put you in another position, all right? You are in a company group, a company session, all right? And then suddenly say you are in charge of operations. And no, they cannot just ask you to talk about something that you don't know in companies. But if it's a public topic like Toastmasters and all, yes. I hope I answered that question because what I feel is that when we get asked to speak about something, all right, it rattles us. It rattles us for a while. Take a deep breath. Even if you don't know, you can still speak. There must be a reason why were you asked to talk about that topic. Do they really care about what you want to speak about, the contents, or do they want to see how confident you are to be able to, what they say, think on your feet? So I'm not sure what context that would be, but like I said, if you have the basics of your own confidence in, you will be able to ace that. I hope that answered your question.
Good evening.
Yep. Good evening.
Hi, Sharon. Thank you very much for your presentation. It's really wonderful and encouraging. I am a lecturer from Indonesia for university student, and I'm basically teaching public speaking. We know that we have done like, for example, audience analysis when we are going to speak, and we also get the background, who they are, how old they are, blah, 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 and what is the topic. And then it seems sometimes I fail gauging the audience and feel like hopeless when in front of them, like we have done our best and there's no such response at all. How can you adapt in a minute while you're in front of many people? Thank you very much.
Thank you for that question. Can I ask whether you're talking about when you're presenting to a group of students itself?
Yes, and of course, sometimes we are also invited to make a speech in front of many other people, for example, in companies or somewhere else, giving a tip of public speaking, and not even the tip that we can give. They themselves do not respond at all. So yes, please, thank you.
Okay, very interesting. Okay, now what happens sometimes is we have this problem of like, you're prepared with that, you know your audience, you know your content, you're prepared, and then they don't care. They're not with you. All right. Sometimes I think we as the speakers have to take the blame as well. Okay, I'm saying sometimes. You know why? Because sometimes what we are doing is we are so into our own presentation, we are not watching what's happening out there. I have done let me share with you, because I do presentations for school, for university students and high school students, and that group is not easy to get with you, and they're very restless as well. So what happens is that I would suggest watch them. Even though if you're doing if you're talking about, say, a university to a group of corporate people, all right, Watch what they're listening, watch their body language. And if you find they are drifting from you, break it, break that chain, stop what you're doing. You must be prepared with maybe with an activity, maybe with a question, maybe with a joke, not with a joke. If you're not good at telling jokes, don't. Maybe you throw a question to them, or maybe you just become silent. Now, there are all these techniques that you can use. Or you have to break it. The problem with some of us speakers, I hate to say this, is that we say, I've been given 20 minutes. I have got 5-6 slides to finish. I am going to finish it whether you're listening or not. Okay? So we cannot. There are many a time you find that if you want to be a good speaker, because at the end of the day, it's about the audience, you will have to break your presentation.
Well understood.
And in fact, if you only cover 2 points, voila, let it be 2 good points.
Okay.
So watch them and be prepared to do something different to break it, to break that chain. Monotony or whatever is setting in. I hope that will help.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much.
That's excellent. That's a really good question. Anyone else would like to ask another question?
Yes, Thomas here. Sharon, that was a wonderful delivery as well, full of passion as always. And, it was invaluable points that you've actually shared with us, something that we can actually take away. My question to you is something that you started your presentation with, and that is on the management of fear. The fact of managing fear of doing presentations. You named a series of things that would be an obstacle. But to be honest, a lot of the times, would you agree that it's difficult for people to handle those fears or manage those fears on their own? Is there any way or process or person or, to help get over that finding of that fear and then to overcome it? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, actually, that's what I do. I help people with that. Okay, right. I run programs on presentation skills and all that. What we do is, you see, like you say, if it's difficult to do it on our own, all right? So we need somebody to actually show us what are our issues actually. Sometimes we think more. We may not be having that particular issue, but we overthink it. All right. We need to really go down. So you may need to go. I would suggest that it has to be done maybe in a group. All right. Presentation coaching. All right. Programs where we can sit down and work on the fears, and then we practice. You need to practice. The more we practice, the fear goes away. Let me tell you, like for me as well, even until today, I tell this to all my participants. Any presentation I do, whether it's for anybody, for the first minutes, even just before the presentation, there are some tiny butterflies flying in there. But the moment I start, I see you, it just goes away. But this always takes time. It takes practice. And then sometimes, when people are watching you, like say, if you're in a group, they can help you as well. So I would say presentation classes, presentation workshops will help. And record and, watch yourself. What is it that makes you, some of us, we go like, the voice goes, or you go, kick, the voice goes, kick, right? And then you go like, it can happen. It can happen to the best of us, but it takes practice. For me, nothing beats practice. Nothing beats, being able to, like I say, when we do presentations, you practice, you rehearse, you record, you video, you record, and then you watch, oh, this is not good, this is not good. You record again, you practice again. So it is a continuous thing. Fear is something that we need to overcome, and it can be done. So for some of us, it takes a bit longer. For some of us, a bit shorter.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you.
And I like I said, I do run programs on this, and I also run certified programs. So these programs on coaching, on public speaking and communication, they are also certified by the Arkansas State University. So I'd be happy to work on that. Yeah. Thank you.
So if anybody wants to probably get in touch with Sharon, feel free to, I mean, the details are there in the invites that we have sent. If you need to probably have some consulting with her, go ahead. I mean, feel free to contact her. Any other questions from the participants?
Joe, can I ask, are there any questions in the chat?
I would need to ask Alex because he's managing that. Alex?
Yeah. Hi. So there's a couple of questions that has come, but that's sort of Sharon, everyone's asking for your contact number or email address. Maybe you can just share your email address in the chat so they can reach out to you directly.
Okay, can I just do that right now?
Yeah, you can send your.
This is my email address.
So there's a question from Nastran.
And I just give my WhatsApp number so you can also contact me on WhatsApp. All right. Yeah. So yeah, those are my details. Sharon Kaur at innocrest.com, and that's my phone contact. So please do, please do call. I would love to hear from you. Sorry, Alex, you were saying something just now.
Yeah. So there's a question from Nastran. The question is, should we use formal words while giving our presentation or no? Just friendly, everyday words. It's a question. So what kind of words they need to give, what kind of words they need to use during a presentation, and it's a formal presentation. So that's the question.
Yeah, thank you. Now, I always believe that when we are giving a presentation, you must be formal. You must use the correct words, no slang, no jargons, because what we must understand is that not everybody can understand the slang and jargon. Unless, for example, if I am a lawyer, I'm giving a talk to a group of legal practitioners, they may understand my jargon. Then I can speak my jargon. But the thing about us is that sometimes when we become informal with our words, we tend to become informal with our speech or even the presentation. And then it brings it to a different level. And sometimes we do not know when, people might not take us seriously. So for me, as far as I'm concerned, when you are making a presentation or you're speaking in public, please use formal words. You cannot go wrong with it. Use formal words, and you have to use words which that particular audience will understand, because different audiences will understand different words. So you cannot use the same level of words. So keep it formal, keep it understood, so that everybody can are able to relate to you. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, please.
Yes.
Please do introduce yourself. So that'll
yes,
be.
I'm Shanti from Malaysia.
Hi, Shanti.
I always find that speaking to adults is actually more challenging than when you actually connect with youth or to children, because youth and children, they are flexible in their thinking. They are very open to what is coming their way. Adults have a lot of barriers actually. So, and different adults, you may be able to relate to, connect to them in a different manner and all. Do you have any tips in how to gauge the kind of audience that you are facing? And how do you break the barrier within that first few minutes, be able to gauge the kind of adults that you are facing? Because, some people, they are already quite well set up in life and things like that. And then, when they're listening to you, it's like, okay, just get to the point. I don't want to know anything more. Or just give me the facts, kind of a thing. Do you have any personal kind of things that you use to gauge and actually modulate yourself fast within the first few minutes of your talking or presentation to people and things like that, especially adults? Actually, children are very much more open.
Okay, thank you, Shanti, for that question. Right, how do we connect with the adult audience? Okay, they're not easy, and especially like what you say, some of them are there, give me the facts and forget the stories. All right, so I would think that it boils down again to this.
I should know who I'm talking to, right? Now, say if I'm speaking to a group of people, like an audience who is already, like say we are presenting something, like we want to market something to them about a program, for example. You know, they want to know the final, you know, the final dotted lines. They just want to know that. They don't want to hear your whole stories. You have to find out what is it that will make them click. Why are they there? What do they want to hear? Not what you want to say. The mistake that sometimes we make is what we want to say. We got so much to say, but what do they want to say? Sometimes it could even be just a little incident that happened which they can relate with. It is not easy. That is why audience understanding, if it's a presentation, smaller group, you might have more luck. It'll be easier. But if it's a bigger group, you know that this group is there for a reason. Okay, you have been given a certain amount of time to speak to them, so you have to understand them. I cannot. It's not easy to give a 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 kind of an answer for that, because each audience is different. All right. Let me share with you, Shanti. For today's session, even for today's session, for me personally, it was a big challenge. How do I start my presentation? Because there's a whole big group of people. All right. And 10,000 things went over my mind. I changed it millions of times. But at the end of the day, I had to come back to what this topic is, what this talk is about, who could possibly be there, a general, a wide, varied audience. All right. Now, when it comes to adults, like what you say, they don't have the patience. Sometimes maybe I don't know. I'm not too sure what kind of adults that you really are talking about, but I would think that if I'm going to speak to that particular group, I want to know who they are, why are they there, how much of time they can give me, what are the things they like to hear. That means I'm doing background check about them. All right. And I can even start my presentation with the end in front rather than an intro. Nobody says I have to start my speech with an intro, and I can only give them what I want or what the result is and then talk about it. And if you think, and the other thing is this, watch their body language. How are they reacting to it? I hope that helps. It is work. With adults, it's work. But the thing about adults is sometimes you can use bigger examples, bigger pictures, and somehow they're able to accept it. Shanti, I hope that's helpful.
Yes,
because I'm sorry,
does.
I'm not able to give you 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 because
Correct.
presentations are very, very diverse.
Thanks, Sharon.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, my name is Madhu Nambiar. I just want to say that many times when I'm attending Zoom, I don't see people. I mean, some people put their videos, so I don't know our audience or their reaction. So I'm asking how, or if there's any way to make the communication more effective in Zoom. Because I see there are a lot of challenges in communicating via Zoom.
Yep, thank you so much. I think that's a big challenge that all of us are facing. You would realize that my presentation was a lot more on, live presentations, but yes, online Zoom meetings, Zoom webinars, they are becoming the in thing. Now, there are two things about videos. Like if you have a small group, say just 4 or 5 of you are having a meeting, all right, and we have all our videos on, I think it's easier for us to manage it, okay? But if you have a bigger group, right, and that you have many faces out there, it's a bit difficult for you to concentrate. I think one of the biggest challenges even I'm facing is that how do I know my audience is still with me? Are they listening to me? Have they left me? Because the videos are not on, the audios are not on. So what I have to do is I have to make myself as relevant as possible. All right. And instead of maybe something just came to my mind. I think this is something that I think I'm even going to do is that instead of always looking why they are not listening to us or what is their reaction, is look at us. What are we doing to make sure that they continue listening to us? Are we interesting enough when we are talking on Zoom? Or are we just narrating something? Zoom, these online presentations are a huge challenge. All right. And then not many of us have got all this studio equipment around us to give super presentations, right? So I think for the time being, Zoom will have its limitations in terms of us being able to see everybody's reaction. Would you not agree with us?
Yes.
It's going to be a bit difficult.
Very difficult.
We
Very
can only
difficult.
do is like sometimes on and off, ask a question, or say, you know what, if there's a group of say 20 or 30 people, there's a presentation or a topic, you can tell, okay, you allocate topics to them, say you speak on this, you speak on that, so they know they have to be there. They know they have to be involved. Something to that effect.
Even if you ask a question, sometimes people won't respond immediately. You don't know whether they are in online or they have technical issues or what exactly the reason behind that. So otherwise, probably
Are we
maybe
talking
then
about meetings? Are we talking about
a
meetings, Zoom
meeting,
meetings?
cultural activities, or so many things by Zoom. I see that there are hurdles, and I
Yes.
see one of the greatest hurdle about I see is that we don't see the real audience because most of them are actually not on the video. They don't turn on their video, so we don't know what they're doing. And also, when you're doing partially or attending something, probably we don't know whether they're really attending. When suddenly ask a question, they don't know where they are. So
I
thinking
think all of us can relate to that issue because you know when it's an open thing, it's a bit difficult to force people to have their videos on. And if we have everybody on video, we will have a problem concentrating on what we are saying because we have to watch them, right? It's different from having a live audience. There it's a bit easy because we can sweep our eyes over them, right?
Okay.
So I think that I honestly, I really don't have a foolproof answer to that one. For me, it's basically I try, you know, if it's a huge audience, if it is, you know, I try my level best to make my presentation as interesting as possible, hoping that they are with us and they will, you know, answer. Because if they are there voluntarily, we can't force them. But if it's a compulsory thing, then we can send them a note and say, hey, you have to participate. So that is another
So
issue.
basically, then you are saying that asking them to turn on their videos is not very offensive, maybe a polite action.
No, it depends on your audience, honestly.
Okay.
There is nothing wrong in asking the audience on the switch on the videos. But some audience do not want to switch on the video. And if they are there voluntarily, we can't force them. So that is what you call it, we can't really force them to do that. You can come up with ideas, to try and get them to switch on the video. But again, we must have a reason why we want the videos on.
Okay.
We must have that reason. And that reason maybe has to be told to them before we start.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a big challenge. I face a challenge when I have Zoom classes as well. So sometimes some of the speakers I know, they say, I rather not have the videos on because it distracts me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Dr.
Thank
Madhu,
you.
that is a very relevant question. A lot of people, as we all move to online training, it's starting to become one of those big challenges. Now, like what Sharon just mentioned, if it is a compulsory training by the company, then you need to follow the rules. Now, it's a public program, then they are free to do what they want to do. But you're right, Sharon. How do we keep our presentation as engaging as possible so people would want to kind of listen to you and not really drop off? It's really tough. Even face to face is tough. Let alone somebody sitting somewhere else and listening to us. It's actually going to be really tough. But slowly, I guess we'll find the answers. Thanks for the question, Doctor.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sharon. Too.
All right. I think we can take one more question. Okay, so on the chat,
If I may say that, what?
Sorry, Sharon. On the chat, I think we noticed quite a lot of them asking about
Go ahead.
there was a certificate available for this program. Generally, we do not hand out certificates, as this is just a public program. Very sorry that we can't do that. Probably we'll think about it for the next coming sessions. Thank you. All right. Any other questions? If there is no questions, can I invite Prabin to share a note of thanks to all the participants and the speaker? Thank you. Prabin, over to you.
Yeah, I would like to thank all of you attending this event from WMC Malaysia. I hope you found the session is very helpful and informative. Very special thanks to our very passionate and energetic speaker, Ms. Sharon. Thank you for the wonderful session. And thank you for all of the team members of WMC Malaysia team for arranging this event, and with the great help of WMC Global team. And yeah, WMC Malaysia would be coming with many more this kind of event. And we hope all of you in the next event. And again, thank you very much, all of you attending this event, and stay safe. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Prabin. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us and spending time with us. Hope to see you all again, because we are lining up some really interesting talks as we go on, and we'll keep you informed. Thank you so much, Sharon, for sharing your wisdom.
Thank you, everyone. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay connected, and there will be more updates about many upcoming events, and also this event will be telecasted on the YouTube channel itself, which you can start viewing the next 3 hours. So thank you, everyone, and take care. Have a good night.
Thank you, and good night, everybody.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Thank you all. Stay safe and stay healthy. Bye.